Take my video down. I see you, XXL. I see you. You think you slick? You're not slick. I see you. Now, when I first came out here, I told you guys that everything was about XXL, but then everybody had to open their mouth with a motherfucking opinion. So this is how we gonna do this. XXL, Yachty, Ugly God, XXL as a staff record label and as a motherfucking crew. And if you want to be down with XL, you too. All of the freshmen, you too. All you motherfuckers, you too. It's Shawn C, and I hope you guys are having a really great day. This video originally got taken down, and yeah, I was a little hot. I was a little hot. But you know what? I'm not gonna let the man get to me. I'm gonna keep doing my thing regardless. I will not be broken. I will not be shaken. This list is still trash. No, you cannot argue with me about my opinion. So let's quickly go over who is on the cover again. For those of you who did not see the first video, this is a revision. We got A Boogie. We got PLAYBOI CARTI, XXXTENTACION, AMINE, Cap G, KAMAIYAH, Ugly God, Kyle, and PNB Rock. I know what a lot of you are asking yourselves. Shawn, why is this list so trash to you? People were legitimately telling me that this list was better than last year's list, and I'm like, how? How is that possible? Last year, we got a variety of new artists that had their own sound. We got Denzel Curry, Anderson .Paak, Lil Yachty. As trash as he may be to some people, he still has his own sound. Lil Uzi has his own flow, his own sound. Designer, I can't say he's authentic or original in any way. What is the threshold? Like, you're comparing this year's list to last year and telling me that some of these rappers on this year's list aren't kind of carbon copies of some of the rappers on last year's list. So let me tell you my issues with some of the rappers on this list. Like I said, my video yesterday was literally satirical. So many of you people took it seriously. Like, how satire and sarcasm goes over some people's heads is literally ridiculous. I'll never understand. But I still stand by my statement yesterday. This is worse than Michael leaving Scranton. I still stand by that. I spoke on my issues with Ugly God being on the cover. Some people didn't, you know, appreciate that. Like, oh, I'm supposed to appreciate the fact that Ugly God acknowledges that he doesn't make good music and wants to continue to make bad music. And people are like, oh, well, at least I respect him for being self-aware. This guy got a spot on a cover that other artists are trying so desperately to achieve, and you're telling me you're happy that he got the spot instead of them. I don't want to use the same analogy, so I'll use a different one. Ugly God saying that he knows he makes bad music is the equivalent to some dude going in the shower and saying, oh, I used the shower, but I didn't use any soap. As far as his hits are concerned, maybe I didn't mention Water yesterday because personally, I felt like Beat My Meat was a bigger song. It was a song that was used for more than just the music. It was used in tons of memes. It was used in tons of jokes. Popularity-wise, it put him on a different level as far as the things that people use that song for. When it comes to making music, it's not just about the playtime. It's not just about the SoundCloud views. It's all about the viral effect that it has on the masses. That's what it's about. It's not just about, oh, it's got this many plays, it's got this many views on YouTube. It's about how it's used for entertainment, and that's why Beat My Meat is a bigger song than Water. Now, I know Ugly God has more music out there, but these are the most popular in my opinion. He's got other music. I know he has the ability to be lyrical, but he doesn't do it. And people that have that ability and still don't want to do it, again, I don't feel the value in them as an artist. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, well, he has potential, so put him in there. Like, no, you don't deserve the spot just because you can do something. I need you to actually do it. For the people yesterday who were asking me the same question, why I felt like X and people like PNB Rock and PLAYBOI CARTI needed to be on the list, when I said in my last XXL video that the XXL Freshman, you know, cover, they tend to choose people that are based solely on hit singles and that have a big fan base, and they were asking me why I felt like that was a negative thing. But in the last video I uploaded, I was saying it makes sense for them to put it on there, because it does make sense. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean I agree with it. That doesn't mean that, oh, this makes sense because there are other artists that make good, consistent music, and then you have artists that have a really one career-defining moment. I'm not saying when I hear PLAYBOI CARTI's Magnolia or I hear X's Look at Me that these are their most popular songs, which they are, but I don't mean it like these are their only popular songs. I mean it like these are their biggest singles. I've listened to literally every piece of X's music, right? I know about King of the Dead, I know about Riot, I know about I don't want to do this anymore, but let's pretend we're numb. I know about all these songs. That doesn't mean that just because they're popular that they are career defining. Look at Me was a career defining moment for X. It put him on a new level, just like Magnolia did for CARTI. PNB Rock is one of the few people on this list that I think actually deserves to be there based off the work that he's put in and how long he's been on the map. People don't know that on the intro of Kodak Black's Lil Big Pac, he was the most beautiful part of the intro song. I'm sorry, I don't think that was the intro track, but the feature on that part, PNB Rock killed that song for me. He really did. Not to mention, he's got a bunch of other music that makes sense. I mean, I'm not a fan of all of his music. His most recent project that came out, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I appreciated him for being an authentic artist, for bringing something new to the table, having his own sound. So him being on this list, I can see that happening and it making sense. Like I said, same thing with PLAYBOI CARTI and X, even though I don't think they deserve to be on the list based off of their merit, because they have one career-defining single and the rest of their music is quite questionable. Now, off of the first listen, you might hear these guys and you're like, oh man, this is something new, this is, you know, this is crazy. That's how I was when I first heard X's music, but as I continued to listen, I'm like, the creativity and the consistency with good music isn't there. It's falling off. The fans will never be honest enough to tell the person they're a fan of that the music isn't that great anymore. They're just gonna keep supporting it. What they'll do to people like me who want to critique it is they'll say, oh, it's different, or you just don't understand it. Which in reality, that just is a childish way to say, I don't know how to explain why I like this music. Made in Tokyo, another thing that people got on me in the comment section about my video yesterday. I've always had trouble pronouncing his name, just like I did with X in the very beginning when I started listening to his music. It's nothing new. That doesn't mean I don't know who he is just because I didn't pronounce his name right. And in the video, I still corrected myself and managed to figure it out. Made in Tokyo has one of his biggest hit singles, Skateboard P, which Big Shawn even made a remix out of. He's got another song, Uber Everywhere. These are really big songs for him. I understand that. That does not mean that because these artists have really big songs that their discography merits them to be in this position. And that's kind of the problem that people have. They think because an artist has hit singles from time to time, or because they have a big fan base, that they deserve these spots. In my opinion, if we're gonna say whether or not artists deserve to be on this list, it's based off of consistency. It's not based off of hit. It's not based off of the size of your fan base, which I feel is what XXL has been doing in its recent years. KAMAIYAH has a project of her own. She's also affiliated heavily with YG and the West Coast. She had a feature on Lil Yachty's new project. Didn't really love it, but I guess you can consider that an accolade for her. I don't really think it's an accolade to be on a Lil Yachty project, but the feature I'm sure helped her out. Kyle, like I said yesterday, people were trying to give me all of his discography. I've heard his music before. I think that he has his moments, and I said that in that video. I know fans of this artist will say otherwise, and that's completely your right, but in my opinion, it's not substantial. It's not great music. He's not the greatest artist. I wouldn't say that his song iSPY was enough to get him in this position, but I definitely think that he's got some popularity behind him. I'm not saying that he's without talent. I can definitely see him being up for consideration, but I still don't see it being enough to get on the cover. The only people on this list that make sense or that can be explained in some way are PLAYBOI CARTI, BOOGIE, PNB Rock, X, and you know, I guess you can consider Made in Tokyo, maybe. Kyle, like I said, he has his moments. Everybody else, no, I can't see it. I do not see it at all in this list. And even the people that it makes sense for, PNB Rock is probably the only guy on this list I feel like legit makes sense. Based on hits, I guess you could say X, PLAYBOI CARTI, and Made in Tokyo. AMINE, another artist that I think is questionable, but I mean, I wouldn't argue with anybody, I guess, if they wanted to put him on the cover. At the same time, there isn't enough that these artists have done to deserve this spot, with the exception of PNB Rock. PNB Rock, BOOGIE, if you want to throw X and PLAYBOI CARTI in there for their fan base and the fact that they have multiple popular songs, but they both have one hit. They both have one hit. I don't want to argue about this. They both have one career-defining moment. I know people are also gonna say, you know what, man? I think Shawn, I think you're just being a hater. I think you're just being a hater. Whatever. I don't care. My whole point is, I know XXL does not have control over this list. This is fan voted. I get that. But at the same time, they can still look at this and be like, you know what? Do we really want to leave this decision in the hands of the people? The same people that made Lil Yachty popular, a certain other questionable artist popular? We really want to leave this decision up to the fans, really. I think that's a little crazy too in itself. I mean, the XXL Freshman cover is something that's supposed to be earned, not voted for. I mean, if that were the case, anybody with a big fan base can literally get to that spot. Like I said before, the only artist I can't argue about is Cap G, because I know nothing about him. So if you want to argue with that and say Cap G deserves to be on this list, then go right ahead. But everybody else, nah, I don't see it, man. I just don't. And I know another question people are gonna have is, well, if you wouldn't put these people on this list, who would you put on the list? I wouldn't put anybody on the list. I don't have enough people to put on this list. I know people who deserve to be on the spot more than other people, and I know that some of those people will probably turn down the cover. You got people like Black. You got people like, I'm not gonna say Nav, because I think he sounds exactly like Speaker Knockers. You got Jid. Like, why aren't these guys considered for the cover? I want people to know where I stand on the cover. I've already expressed my opinions on how I feel XXL moves now. I don't feel like it's based off any type of skill or talent. It's based solely off of how poppin' you are, if you got a fan base, and that's it in my opinion. I don't feel like they look for really anything else. Otherwise, why would this be fan voted? So, to all the people in my yesterday video that I offended, I'll apologize to you when these artists get better. In all seriousness, maybe not mentioning some of their singles wasn't the best idea, but just because somebody doesn't mention every little aspect of someone's career does not mean or does not justify that they don't make great, consistent music. Some of these guys don't even have a project out. Bruh! And that's what happened to Designer. He got poppin', he had one great single, developed a great fan base, they put him on the cover, he released the trash, the absolute trash that was Timmy Turner, then released another trash mixtape right after that. I don't want to hear it. Some of these artists could have taken a little bit more time with developing their music before they were considered for the spot. I don't see them making great music from this point. Like I said, I'm looking at people that are from last year. Designer, Kodak, Lil Yachty. Designer, his most recent project was New English, worst mixtape, one of the worst mixtapes I've ever heard. Lil Yachty released his album recently, Teenage Emotions, one of the worst albums I've heard in 2017. Probably the only bad album I've heard in 2017, to be honest. No, there was another, but I'm not gonna say his name. Kodak. The last two projects, or last 2 or 3 projects, have been just horrible. Like, why? And I'm not saying the list is supposed to make you better, like you're a Saiyan on Namek and you get damaged enough and then when you come back you're much stronger than before. I'm not saying that, but I am concerned because these individuals, I've looked at them and I think it would have been better for some of those individuals that were on the list last year to be on the list this year. We look at the buzz and we look at where their features have taken them, and it doesn't appear to have helped that much or that substantially. I can't sit behind it. I guess one of the things that I don't agree with this list is it's not good for the artist necessarily, because when you get to certain levels and when you get to a certain plateau, I think some of them may think that they've reached a certain level and now they think I've arrived to a certain point, and that can be bad for their career. It might take away some of the drive. It might take away some of the thought process when they're making music. They might think that they don't have to try as hard. Some of them really think that. I'm not just making this up. So when you have a young artist that's, you know, got a really nice sized fan base and they've got a hit single, I don't think it's best to just take them off of that alone. I think you should mature them. You should nurture them. You should have a little bit more respect for the artist and their fan base and say, wait, I want to see where this goes before I give you such an important feature, I would assume. But seeing something like this just confirms my thought that XXL really just doesn't care about the art. They just sit here and just put anybody with a hit on. They put anybody that has a fan base on. You're making any type of noise anywhere, we got you, fam. That's how they are, and they don't care where the artist goes after that. Like, I thought this was about the genre. I thought you were developing young artists. I thought you were featuring unknown acts. Why are you putting them on so early? Let them develop. Let them grow. I don't know. It's been Shawn C. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. I know there's going to be 1,000 dislikes, so go ahead and do that as well. Go ahead and leave a comment down below letting me know how you feel about this cover. If you think I am just being a hater, yeah, because I can have an opinion without being a hater. Another thing I want you guys to understand and realize is that we gotta wait for their freestyles. There are people that were telling me that, like, oh, dude, you can't judge them before their freestyles drop. Yeah, because freestyles make an artist better. Let's see what they got. Let's see what they come with. It's been Shawn C. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.